Well, let's have a look at the race to the White House now. And for 81-year-old Joe Biden, it's yet another gaffe. Have a look.
There's an entire move because they are xenophobic, because they do not want to invite other people from outside their country to come in and make up the workforce. They have fewer workers than they have a need for workers.
Let's bring in Sky News contributor Kosha Gada now. Kosha, this remark highly offensive to so many people.
For sure. I think, fortunately or unfortunately, Shara, depending on your vantage point, a lot of people just don't put a lot of stock in what President Biden says these days, and I think they'll just chalk it up to another Joe moment or another gaffe. But it also isn't really grounded in any factual reality, because those four countries that he listed there have Russia, China, India, Japan, have very different economies, different struggles, yes, also different advantages. By some measures, they're actually more ascendant than the U.S. economy right now. And, the issue of aging and all of that doesn't make sense, too. One last point I would make, though, is, people are framing this as another gaffe, but I would actually say this one is not so much a gaffe as it is perhaps a revealing moment, because it shows, I think, what the Biden administration and the left side of politics in liberal democracies everywhere sees as the highest order virtue or calling, which is diversity at all costs and unlimited immigration basically at all costs. And a lot of those countries do not share that view. And they also have thousands of years of history, by the way, that they represent. And they probably don't appreciate being lectured to by the U.S. president right now.
Now, breaking news this evening that Hamas has threatened serious consequences if Israel goes ahead with its invasion of Rafah. We know that Israel just this afternoon has ordered an evacuation of Palestinians for parts of Rafah. But now Hamas threatening consequences. This looks like it is going to escalate.
It sure does, and I think now we're 7-8 months in after October 7th. Each move and each month just unfortunately seems to be escalatory in all dimensions. And, that is a very tough and tricky and scary part in this whole thing to many people, that there doesn't seem to be a clear line of sight or end in sight to these things. Of course, Israel is operating now under increased public pressure, as you know, and cover all the time, every day, that maybe makes them a little bit hamstrung already with how they're able to navigate at least the diplomatic barriers that they're facing with executing their strategy to defend their sovereignty. And then you have Hamas on the other side not going to pull any punches, and I think they're going to continue this kind of escalatory talk and, unfortunately, possibly action as well, using the more terroristic tactics that they use. And that's just something that I think the world is going to have to be ready for, because it's not going to stop.
Yeah, and yet still 134, up to 134 if they're still alive, hostages in dark tunnels somewhere, perhaps in Rafah. Kosha Gada, apologise, that was so quick tonight. My interview with Frydenberg went over, but thank you for joining us.